this one never talked to me. Bought her a Coke and Jim Beam. Sting of bourbon on her lips. Big tab and a $20 tip. She put her hand on my thigh. So I grabbed my wallet and opened wide. She didn't like me, but she loved my money. Cleared my clouds and made it sunny. She wanted bread and I wanted honey. She didn't like me, but she loved my money. Asked her if I could take her home.
Woo! Nice, fancy little country song there.
Fits perfectly into the relationship our main characters have in this movie. It's this movie that none of you guys are going to listen to, even though you should. You know, Griff, every time we get some momentum, because we're killing it right now.
Oh, yeah.
I throw ice cubes on the boner because because I'm like, I want to do something I want to do.
Yeah.
A deeper cut.
No.
And it always kills our momentum, but hey, whatever.
Like, our fans aren't quite at the sexual peak that we're at. I mean, this is a very sexual movie.
Well, we're sex gods. I mean, I proved it last week when I read that erotica.
Yeah, you were telling me you've been getting a lot of weird, like, hey, can you come?
Well, not weird. It makes sense.
It makes sense. You're right. I shouldn't say weird. But you've been getting a lot of requests to come dub their babies. I didn't know we offered this service. Well, how would you describe it? They want us to come out there and, like, put our hand on their baby because they're naming their babies after us.
Well, yeah, there was a huge spate of I feel bad because we still are going through this baby formula crisis.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Do they think that we have baby formula in the Laserdisc vault?
No, we don't.
We don't.
I mean, I'm drinking some right now, but I
that's...
like that. It gives me that rich phlegmy sound in my voice that you guys love. Yeah, apparently there's spontaneous immaculate conceptions after that erotic reading I did for Highlander 3.
Yeah, it didn't help that
It's not all me. I didn't... I think Swedson was his name.
Swedson, I think you said his name was.
Sweaty Swedson.
Sweaty Swedson.
He wrote... I was just a conduit for his words. You were just a conduit. I mean, I elevated it.
It didn't help that I put the fucking music behind it,
It did not help it at all.
And as Swedson said in that song, or in that...
review.
In the review... This music is so sex.
Yeah,
so,
it's to quote him in quotes. Fuckable music.
Fuckable music.
Yeah.
And it proved to be true because I mean we just released that not even a week ago, and babies are being born.
But they weren't even being fucked. It was like I said, immaculate conceptions. They were being fucked by my words.
So
I was fucking them softly with my words.
Fucking them softly.
That's my favorite '70s song. Fucking me softly.
Oh, I thought that was a Fugees. They must have covered it.
Well, Fugees covered.
Fugees
it,
covered it.
Word
And turned it into Killing Me Softly. No,
well, no, it was originally Fucking Me Softly.
Yeah,
with his dick.
Yeah,
and they said Killing Me Softly with his kiss.
Speaking of fucking people softly, my God, this movie's very sexual.
It's all about fucking. The '70s, dude. We were all about fucking back then.
I mean, you think you got Jim Kelly in this movie, very fuckable man.
Yeah.
But he's playing the Steve James role in this.
Yeah, well, yeah, the thankless Steve James role.
I mean,
we weren't ready for, unless you're in blaxploitation. America wasn't ready for black sex.
Yeah, this is true. And I mean, even in the '90s, Arnold was supposed to bang that one chick in Commando. But they were like, 80s. The South will refuse this movie, so we can't. And they were just like friends.
Yeah.
So, good job, South.
And she was only half black.
She was only half black. Come on. But, what were we getting at?
Golden Needle. Joe Don Baker.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't our first movie with him. He was in Ring of Steel,
Ring of Steel.
It was like 3 years ago. But he was a supporting player. This is a star. He's walking tall.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
In this movie, Joe Don Baker. I should hate Joe Don Baker. But he's just he's like a giant teddy bear. He's so lovable. I don't know if it's that sweet southern drawl he's got. Because there is some Ginty-ass quality. Like there's this je ne sais quoi about Joe Don that works. And like if Ginty had played this role, I'd like stab him in the dick with these golden needles.
I hate that you put that into my mind because I can immediately put Ginty into this role, and it's a far worse movie. So, like, Joe Don Baker gets what he is, and he plays his character exactly how he portrays himself.
Right, because he doesn't even attempt to do kung fu. He's just like a bear mauling somebody.
This is all taking place in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So, doesn't care. He's just like, no, American style. People are like, they're building him up. We get the Steven Seagal build up. Oh, I got a guy. He's the greatest cat burglar. He came over here just to cat burgle. We get to see that
some cats.
His burgling tactics is literally just punching a window.
Right.
I love it. Like, and the fact that
he's the most American cat burglar.
He is such a sleaze, and he knows that the only people he can cozy up to are ugly women and women out of his class. Well, I guess that doesn't work. But he knows
low-life women.
Low-life women. There we go. So I'm excited to talk about this movie because it's gonna be a punk rock song. We're gonna get in and out of this fucking shit.
Or
we'll get stuck on some lore because there is some weird lore happening. But speaking of weird lore, we threw out way too much information in our Highlander 2 or Highlander 3 episode.
Information or questions?
Yeah, we asked the greatest questions. You
gave the greatest answers. We don't know if they were right.
We gave the plots to 8 different episodes of the Highlander TV show that should be in production right now.
Yeah, they should reboot it. Are you listening, HBO Max?
Yeah, we're just waiting. We're actually supposed to be meeting them halfway. We're going to meet like somewhere in the middle of the U.S. in a ring with a table, and we're going to do a contract signing for all the world to see.
I can't wait to flip that table.
You're going to flip it? I said Murray's going to have to flip.
That's how you end a contract signing.
Actually, we're both going to get our own tables, so we can both flip our tables.
I like it.
Yeah. So, amongst that, we asked a lot of questions because, hey, look, we said it on the episode. We're not the greatest Highlandologists. We're just
the greatest podcast.
Yeah. And so, there was a question, if there's not a Highlander in sight when another Highlander dies, what happens to the quickening if he's surrounded by people? What if he accidentally gets beheaded by a train or something? Does it go into everybody? And we did learn from our good friend Mike. He did say that the humans cannot contain it. Their vessels are not.
So no, but you don't like just take a slice of someone's skills. Like I don't learn how to eat pussy the greatest way because that Highlander could.
No, sounds like
no
you get
tricks.
None of it. I mean, I think we could do an episode where one guy's just special enough.
Is that why that guy's eyes shot out of his head in Highlander 2? Remember that?
I don't remember that.
That's all I remember from. They were on a subway. I don't remember what was happening. Michael Ironside, I think, was on a subway. The guy's eyeballs, it was the worst. Like, I can't even call it a special effect. It was just makeup. It was just the worst.
Yeah. It was like early 80s cheap special effects. I like it.
He literally just had the glasses with the eyeballs of the springs and then go on.
Boing! I like it. We're going to hear that noise later. So, I don't remember if there's any more Highlander facts, but hey, you know what? That's a good episode. Go listen to that shit.
Yeah. We should tack on a Highlander. Go listen to this episode because this is gonna be a great episode.
Oh yeah,
that you're gonna sleep on because it's like I don't like. It's like sometimes I feel like our audience is like the people who won't watch black and white movies. It's like we don't like 70s movies.
Yeah,
I wish we could do a show just about 70s. All you guys want is 90s movies. We hate 90s movies. They're too long. Yeah, too slick. And we'll be talking about that at the end of the episode. You're going to get an earful from me at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But Highlander, go listen to it. Keep listening to this first.
Yeah, you're going to have to get through this one. You're locked in now.
Right.
That's actually
you're on the edge of your seat. Once you hear it, you're like, I can't stop. It's like potato chips.
Right. Potato chips.
We're the potato chips of podcasts.
Yeah, we are the potato chips. You can't have just one. We're not the Pringles.
Potato cast.
Potato cast. That's probably a podcast that could be made. You know, I tried to plant some potatoes out back, and the fucking deer stole them.
Fucking deer.
Fucking deer.
Deer like potatoes. I didn't know that.
I guess they do, or maybe a squirrel dug it out. But
probably a squirrel.
It's not there anymore. That's the important part, or the tragic part. It's a part. Yeah.
How about just eat the potato instead of planting it?
It was already getting all stalky and everything, so I said, fuck that. I don't want that shit. Potatoes are a nickel. I just bought new potatoes.
I never really thought about it. It's like, how do you grow a potato? Because you use a potato to grow a potato. He's like, do potatoes grow off of one potato?
Yeah, they're ruts.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an awkward pause.
No, it was a good pause.
Okay.
It's so everyone can think about potatoes and how they grow.
Okay.
Sometimes you need to just digest the information we throw. We paused several times last week, and people think that we were stopping, stuttering, lost our train of thought. No, it's so you guys can take a moment to process.
Yeah, I know. This heady ideas that we have in every episode. It's like we're like Aristotle and Socrates.
Yeah. So, if we were trying to sell this movie before we go to trailer, Joe Don Baker.
Yeah. Everyman Joe Don Baker.
Everyman Joe Don Baker is hired to retrieve a statue with the power to restore sexual status in a man.
Yeah, it was the original Viagra. Before Viagra, you had to have acupuncture on your dick.
Yeah.
In order to make it hard.
And almost like Fist of the North Star.
And you need like a professional to do that.
Yeah.
Now you just take a pill. You used to have to hire an acupuncturist to get a boner.
And even if you got the top guy, you were still at risk. It's like eating the fugi fish or whatever it is, the blowfish.
Right. 1 millimeter off and it's death.
Yeah.
That's really weird how that works out. Like, it's either boner or death.
I guess those just
it can't just be like nothing happens. You know?
It's just like how our brains are wired, and the pleasure sometimes gets twisted a little bit, and people get into feet. It's just that slight variation, and next thing you know, you're tweeting at AOC at all hours of the day, asking if you could just see her feet once.
People are sick.
I think they're okay. I don't
at AOC in the middle of the night saying, "I want to see your feet." I think they're all right.
That part is sick. I thought you meant the feet people in general.
No, I don't get it, but whatever floats your boat.
That nerve didn't twist for us.
I love armpits.
You're an armpit
there
guy?
are people who are into. What is that? I don't get it. I don't know. No.
Well,
I like the old-fashioned sex parts.
Here's a couple of the sexual perversions of the world, and we're about to learn them.
What is your sexual perversion?
Necks.
You like necks?
Slopes and necks.
Oh, yeah, because you like to fuck necks.
I like to fuck necks, yeah. I mean, come on.
Guy taught you at your old job, neck fucking is the best fucking.
And then I tried it. I was like, he's an idiot. And I tried it. I had a bender one night, and I was just like, you know what? Here's what's going to happen now. And you got to get a woman with a long enough neck. You can't have somebody with a short neck.
Like the ones that have the rings that stretch their neck. Is that where that came from?
Yeah, that's actually
the
where
African tribe came up with neck fucking?
Yeah.
And then, of course, white people culture appropriated, took it for themselves.
We have to take everything. If we don't, England will. And we can't let those fuckers beat us to it.
Exactly. So, let's just get to this fucking trailer. Here it is, the cure for small dick energy. It's golden needles.
According to an ancient legend, the human body has 7 forbidden acupuncture points. If stimulated correctly with a special golden needle, the result is everlasting youth, pleasure, and vitality. Incorrectly, the result is agonizing death. From the gracious mansions of Beverly Hills to the teeming waterfront of the China Sea, 7 people seek the treasure of pain and pleasure, the fabulous golden needles.
It's as beautiful as they say.
250,000.
You're insane. You shan't mention any amount of money that is offered.
Any amount?
What do you want?
30,000 American dollars.
You got it.
7 desperate people on one desperate chase to find the golden needles. He who owns them can rule the world.
Welcome back. Great trailer. Probably explained the movie really well.
Right. Probably going to repeat what we're going to say in the next couple seconds.
Oh, yeah.
So you open up with a little exposition. We see this shitty-looking statue. I wasn't impressed with it.
It was not... For that being the main prop of the movie, they did not put much work into it.
No.
I guess they were trying to make it really old, though. So think about that.
It looked like something a caveman would put together.
Yeah. And cavemen, of course, did invent acupuncture.
Of course they did. Well, everybody was a caveman at one time.
Right. Before fire came acupuncture.
Right. And so Yeah, we see the statue. It's of a man, I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't want to guess genders.
I mean, it didn't have genitals, so.
It did not have genitals, which is weird, because this is a fucking statue.
I mean,
it's called the Golden Needles of Ecstasy statue to begin
maybe
with.
it like a lady dries up down there and helps her get it wet again.
So, yeah, see, this is what I don't understand. We'll get into there's a whole Highlander mystery behind the statue, because it's literally called the Golden Needles of Ecstasy statue. And I'm like, oh, it gives you a boner. That's all it does.
That would make sense.
No, apparently it's got many, many powers, but in the beginning, it's just. It's 7 acupuncture points, and they're labeled on the body. See, it's like only an idiot could fuck this up. I don't know why it's so hard to do this. They literally have every point.
Well, you got to know how to do the puncture based on scale model, because this is a scale model of a human.
Yeah, it's 1/6.
So you need to be able to like figure that out. That's got to be pretty tough. And you have to have the tri-lens thing. You got to pull each one. Yeah.
But if you do it correctly, absolute sexual pleasure.
Yes.
If you go a millimeter off, death.
So I think the needle has to go in an exact pore on your body.
So it makes me believe, is there something about the statue itself? It has some innate magical powers, because you seem like all you would need is a picture of this statue. You wouldn't even need the statue there.
Yeah. This might be, we saw it last week, that our sorcerer Nanakin, maybe that was his name?
Anakin Skywalker, yeah. Nakano.
Nakano. He had the statues that could turn their face and everything. Maybe he
had a golden needle of ecstasy statue stored somewhere.
He made it.
I actually remember seeing it in Connor McLeod's Anything. Remember, you see, if you zoom in, you get the laser disc, you go enhance. Right next to that autographed picture of his son is a golden needle statue.
How do you think he's been keeping this bitch Sarah around for hundreds of years?
Right. How do you think he's so fuckable?
Exactly.
The sexual movements. Yeah. The choreography.
He doesn't even have to worry about it being placed in the wrong spots, because he's goddamn Highlander. So he can go to any Joe Schmo and be like, yeah, just put these needles where it looks like.
Write this down. This would be another great episode of the Highlander show where he goes to China. And he's like, he finds the statue, and he learns how to fuck that way.
Yeah. I like this. Yeah, this is working. We've already got like 7 episodes for our Highlander show.
Right, and that's all you need nowadays for a streaming show, 7-8 episodes.
Yeah. It's going to be good, too.
So, like I said, they tell you what's the deal with the statue. The credits roll, and then we see Chinese Sigmund Freud. That's what he looked like to me. He looked like Sigmund Freud. And he actually said sometimes a cigar is a substitute for a penis. And they drive him in. He's got, like you said, he's got the fucking horn rim glasses with not one, but 2 magnifying glasses on it.
Yeah, and so he's got to actually like articulate them into place.
Think he would, if this is so important, he'd have like tape measures and shit and everything. But no, all he needs is this fucking.
The real skill is in his soul. He follows his heart, and the heart helps him get to the pore. Okay. That's got to be it. I mean, because no one uses a measuring tape.
So he walks into this room. We see this elderly man being brought in a wheelchair by 3 beautiful women.
Very beautiful.
Young enough to be his granddaughters.
Very scantily clad. And you're like, what is going on? Is this Hugh Hefner, like the Chinese or Hong Kongian?
Yeah, Hong Hefner.
Hong.
And so they put him on this table. And we see our man. Well, first of all, our man, I think his name was Dr. Lung Dong Schlong. And he was like examining the stat. What? I thought that was his name.
Yeah, it was his name.
Was it Professor or was it Doctor? I don't know.
It was actually Professor.
Okay, I got it wrong. It's Professor Long Dong Schlong.
It's okay.
And he's like examining the statue. He's got the fucking. So we got fans going on right now. My notes are blowing everywhere. And he's examining it with the trifold magnifying glass. And he's like, I got it. I got it down. So they put the old guy on the gurney.
It takes, for a movie that's only 85 minutes long, they give us a lot of time to just watch this old guy, because he's like rigor mortising already. He's not even dead. Yeah. And they have to
he's naturally hardening.
Exactly. And they have to massage his body to relax it enough so he can lay flat. We get 10 minutes of this. They fast forward through the rest of the movie so we can see this guy get massaged down because they need to show us the gimmick.
Right, because then he pulls out a pair of scissors and he cuts around where all the spots are, because the guy's wearing like a medical gown type thing.
Yeah.
And he cuts every spot because even though this is all about getting a boner, it's a modesty. We don't want to see the grizzled cock.
Right.
You know?
Well, they get a kind of a tighter gown on them, so when it goes whoop, you can see it poking through the gown. You know, that's the fun.
So this is great directing by whoever directed this, because we just feel the tension building as he's just cutting the gown, and then he's placing, and then there was like a moment where he put it in and he pulled it out and he moved it just slightly over,
just the poor 2 doors left.
And that was my favorite 90s alt rock band, 2 Pours Down. And so they're putting the needles in, and all of a sudden you hear that magical noise. It worked, Griff. It worked.
Jesus, man, that's impressive.
Right.
I was impressed when he's
at full mast now.
Oh yeah, when he got up and he was...
the doctor saluted it, actually.
Well, yeah. Of course, that's what you do when a man gets his boner back. You salute it.
Right. There was a flag on it.
There was a
People's Republic of China.
So his 3 ladies, they giggled to themselves.
Right. Covering their mouth like you just did. Yeah. Because that's how Asian women laugh.
It is how Asian women laugh. To this day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
And so they're like pointing to the pleasure room, and they're like, let's get in there.
He just leaps off the gurney. He's like, let's fuck.
Yeah, he's still got his gown on. You can see the boner. Right. You know, he's pitching a tent here.
Right.
And he gets a nice little top hat and a cane and does like a nice little shuffle into the bedroom with his ladies.
Well, he's about to, but then out of nowhere, guys with flamethrowers just burst in. Wow, what a way. The guy's got, say what you will about the villains, but he's got style. Most people would just shoot somebody. Flamethrower death.
This is good. This is actually really good.
And they're wearing these crazy like fireproof suits.
Yeah. And
they just fucking ignite everybody.
Yeah. I think this was Ginty and crew. They weren't actually supposed to be on set, but Ginty showed up when he was offered the role, and then they're like, you know what? You're not any fuckable. You're not going to be in this movie. And so he was like, I have this idea for a character called the Exterminator, so I'm just going to bring it on set here.
I didn't put that together. I mean, ugh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We've had a tough week of Ginty, so I can understand.
Tough few weeks of Ginty.
Yeah, I know. Why were people asking for that?
I've aged 5 years, so now I only look 10 years younger than I really am. It's awful. So now, okay, we set it up. Cut to the hard streets of Hong Kong. We see our female lead, Felicite.
Yeah.
She's in a wet market. COVID everywhere. People eating bats on the streets.
I've noticed this in other movies, too, like Bruce Lee movies and shit. What's going on in Hong Kong where they just constantly have crates of snakes that they're, like, passing to people?
Well, did you see the one guy? He was literally holding a cobra by the neck.
Yeah.
And it bit at the woman as she walked by. It was a real fucking cobra.
Oh, shit. That's fun. That's a fun set to work on. Yeah. But it's just like every time you show like people in Seattle, you got to do the Pike Place where the people are passing the fish.
Yeah.
Hong Kong, whenever you shoot it, Mexico has the yellow filter. Right. Seattle has the fish market. Hong Kong has snake market.
They have the wet market.
Yeah, the wet snake market. Yeah.
And they're just loving it. They love snakes. I don't know. I guess because that's what if you can't afford the golden needles of ecstasy, you drink like snake gallbladder juice or some shit. You know, there's a lot of impotent dudes in Asia when you think about it, because they're always killing shit to get boners. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, like you said,
rhino horn, tiger balls, it's like
it was a time before Viagra. So I don't.
But they're still doing it. It's like we have Viagra now. You don't need to fucking chop a rhino's horn off anymore. All it is, it's made from the same shit your fingernails are made from.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
It's retarded that they think that's going to do anything in 2020.
Man.
Viagra, we have it. We have the cure.
Well, maybe they think they're going to get their boner back without having to take a pill.
It's much better to kill a majestic animal that we have very few left.
Oh, yeah. No, fuck your boner.
Yeah.
If you get caught poaching something for boner pills, you should just get your dick cut off.
Right.
So
exactly.
You've heard it here first.
Right. Grind that up and give it to somebody else. They can get a boner with your
maybe that's how it works. Yeah. So their sacrifice is allowing someone else to have a boner forever.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, she's walking through the wet market and she goes up into this office, And this is where, first of all, I right off the bat, I'm like, you do not trust this guy. He poisoned Indiana Jones. This is the guy from fucking Temple of Doom.
I knew I recognized him. Another movie with a lot of snake markets.
Well, because Indiana Jones fears snakes. He had to have snakes. And he is painting another man's body. There's a man without a shirt on. He's painting body art.
This is so good. And it was a kindergarten-style body art because there's just smudges of paint everywhere.
Yes.
He's in his abstract phase right now.
Right.
I love this guy. I immediately was like, this is a good villain here. Linto. Doesn't have to say a whole lot. Has goons talk for him most of the time.
Yeah, he speaks Chinese to the point where you're like, I think, does he know English? Yes, he does later on. But, when in Rome, speak as the Chinese do.
Yep.
So he's speaking Chinese, and he's got a middleman. I think this is like their thing. They fuck. But probably he does this because he assumes they think he doesn't know English, and then they'll reveal shit.
Exactly. That's 100% what's happening here. He's playing dirty little tricks on Felicity. Yeah. And it's very rude of him. Right. So he's mostly just minding his own business with his fucking paints.
Right.
And we've got he's like a Jimmy Hart kind of henchman. You know, he talks really loudly. He's got that nice little mustache, mullet, and everything. And gold statue's over here. And Felicity goes over, checks it out. She's like, this is the most beautiful statue I've ever seen.
This is the first time she's ever seen a statue. So, yes, it is the most beautiful. Yeah. Here's your $75,000. Things have changed.
Yeah.
We believe this is worth a little more money. Because she already gave him $25,000 as a down payment.
Right.
And she's like, what the fuck? And he's like, $150,000.
She starts going full Karen mode. She's like, I'm going to talk to your manager right now because I'm from Ohio.
Right. Her name is Felicity Karen.
Yeah. I'm from Ohio, and you do not squelch on a deal with an Ohioan woman.
Right. Holy
Ohio
Toledo.
Woman. Exactly. Holy Toledo.
There,
yeah. And, of course, Lynn is just he's just dead-eye staring into her face. And you see, he's starting to get...
He's still pretending he doesn't know English.
Yeah. He's not saying anything. He's just speaking with his eyes. Yeah. But then he's also getting his paint swatches out. And you see him start dabbing into that green, just real deep
Should have been red, but yeah.
You think it should have been red? Yeah. Okay.
Because what he's ultimately going to do.
Oh.
Because he paints a dotted line on her neck, making you think that's where we're going to chop your head off.
This is where we're going to chop her head off.
But no, he does green. He's like you said, he's an abstract face.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks she's Vulcan. I don't know.
Ooh, good call. Maybe.
And she's just like, that freaks her out a little. She's like, well, I'll talk to my boss. We'll work something out.
Yeah. There happens to be other powerful men in Hong Kong that are great friends with me. I'm from Ohio. I don't know if you heard me say that.
It's considered the New York of the Midwest.
It really is.
Ohio.
People travel states over to go to our Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. They love our Cedar Point.
Oh, don't even get me started on the Cedar Point.
And so she bugs out. She goes to Quan, who was like her guy, gets her middleman, to Linto. And Quan's this elderly Asian man. Yeah. And she's like, Quan, what the fuck? They double. It's $250,000 they want now.
Oh, yes, that's so good. How is that good? That's not the price we... It means it's real. Real.
And she's like, what are we going to do? I don't have this money. My boss is going to kill me. I know a man. He is like a cat. He is so quick. He's the greatest cat burglar in all of Hong Kong.
Great hair. Fashionista. He invented the baby boy haircut. This man...
Only man capable of completing this deal.
So we get a nice cut over to high stakes mahjong.
High stakes. I thought they were playing Scrabble.
You thought Scrabble?
Because he had the little thing that you put the Scrabble tiles on. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to play mahjong. I don't know what it is. Tis a mystery to me.
I don't understand because it's like I'm used to seeing how my mom used to play it on the computer, where it's the stacks.
My mom's obsessed with that now. Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah,
where it's the stacks of tiles and you gotta
do you have to match?
You got to match them, but they're stacked on top of each other, so you have to clear. It has to be fully. This surface has to be fully cleared before you can actually use it. So that's the trick of it.
Okay, but this is Griff in 3 months when football season starts.
Oh yeah,
he's a total degenerate. Joe Don Baker, our hero, Dan.
Yeah,
he's like
Baseball's been far worse for me than football.
See, this is where it happens.
You haven't heard me talk about it. I had a good 9 days off. I bet yesterday. Okay. One bet.
Okay. You said 9 days, 3 hours, 43 seconds.
Got it down to the minute. You'll be happy to know I doubled my money, though.
Okay. Much like you, Dan has a system.
Dan does have a system.
He will not look at anyone.
Can we talk about the patrons real quick?
Yeah.
Because it's old women.
Yeah, well, yeah.
This is a bingo hall.
I told you my mom plays mahjong.
Yeah, exactly. Your mom would be fitting in.
You're right. This is the Hong Kong equivalent of a bingo hall.
It is. So he's playing bingo with all these old women. He's losing his ass, and he's
literally shirtless.
Yeah, and we talked about it in the top half, I believe, that there's only two people that Dan can get close to, and it's old women and
lowlifes.
Lowlifes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He knows his crowd.
He's
so invested. A guy sneaks up, pickpocket, steals his wad, and he's like, he can't look. He's like, my system, I cannot look at it. I got to look at my tiles. Give me that fucking money back. And he's like, I don't know anything. Give me my fucking money. The guy, he knows Dan's going to fuck his shit up. You don't fuck with Dan's mahjong.
You don't.
So he does hand the wad back. And then he throws the wad on the table because he's like, I got it. This is it. I got a triple word score. I'm going to fuck your shit up, old lady.
Fuck, man.
And no, he fucks up.
Yeah, he fucks up. They smell that a mile away. Because his triple word score, tubular. It's not a fucking word.
No. I don't know. You check the Oxford dictionary. Maybe they added it.
I don't use Webster's. Or
I thought it was fashizzle is what he wrote.
Faux shiz?
And there was like 2003 that would have worked, Dan, but nah, we're over the Snoop Dogg talk.
Yeah, this isn't the Highlanders the Scrabble.
So, like you said, he flirts a little with the old lady. I'll be back, young lady.
Yeah.
Gives her like a fucking penny, and then he's like, goes to the bar where we meet the patron, the woman who owns this bingo hall, Fenzi.
Fenzi.
Like a Mae West type. Like she's surrounded by these young Asian studs, and they're just caressing her.
Her whole thing going on here was great. She's behind a curtain, like a sheer curtain and everything. She's got the fucking hedonism bot, like chase lounge, and she's got, like you said, the boys fanning her.
Right.
Great.
She's got the big feather bow. She's got the Ric Flair robe on.
She's got a Ric Flair robe, and of course, whenever she sees that silhouette of Dan come into her little chamber here, she's like, Dan, you've come to see me. It's like, I can tell that you're thirsty. Champagne? Yeah, that would be great. I can't afford it. How about beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Fenzi's like, she's cool as fuck. Cause she's like, he owes her like fucking $100,000.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't worry about it, Dan. Whatever. I know you're good for it. You know? So they got a relationship.
And this is where we get kind of a mix-up of our scene here where Kwan's suddenly in the place.
Yeah, Dan like goes back to his where the table he usually sits at, and he's just drowning his sorrows in some beer.
Yep.
Kwan shows up, and he's just like, Dan, I need your help. We know there's some tension. These guys obviously were partners at one time, but there's tension.
Right. I mean, Dan is saying, hey, there's a little bit of tension here. I don't know if you can just come out and ask me to do something for you, friend.
And then Felicity walks in, and he's like, oh... Like, oh my God, a woman under fucking 40 years old in this place.
For real, yeah, I guess that would be a angelic moment. I didn't understand why they had that noise, but now I get it.
And he's like, it's for her. We know you're the greatest cat burglar of all. And then he's like, Dan's like, a literal light bulb goes off on top of his head. And he's he's like, all right.
Call Miss Felicity over here. He starts patting his lap, like, come sit down, Missy. She takes a chair.
And I think, did she offer him? She's like, I'll give you 30 grand for this.
Yeah. She comes off hard, plays a hard front. She's just like, $30,000. That's a lot of money. And I see that a lot of these women are eyeing you down because they know you owe.
And he can tell she's desperate. And see, this is where Ginty could not do this. No. This is where you need the charm of a Joe Don Baker, because if Ginty did it, you go creep.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just like, all right, I'll do it, but you got to hug me and tell me you love me. And she's like, what? Yeah. And he's like, that's all you got to do. And she's like, all right, because she's like, her boss can kick her ass. So he gets up. She gives him that little like fucking friend hug.
She did the side hug, just an arm over the shoulder,
not touching the body.
Yeah, exactly. She
he's
did
like,
the side.
That ain't a hug.
This is not a hug, ma'am. I can tell that you're from Ohio. In the South, we hug with our privates.
Well, no, he's like, I want you to hug me and grab my butt cheeks.
Yeah.
So she wraps around that big bear of a man.
What did I just say? I said that's a Texas hug. You got to grab
your
the privates.
Your butt's not your privates. Your dick's your privates.
Well, it's privates. Your butts are part of the privates.
Are they?
I mean, do we sheathe our butts?
Well, yeah, and I guess we've been talking about eating ass for so many weeks now. I guess it's true. It is a sexual organ, but this time. And so she squeezes. He says, "Say honk, honk." And she's like, "Honk, honk." And he's like, "I love you." And you're like, "What? I didn't hear that. What did you say?" "I love you." Say it so everybody in the room can hear it. I love you. All right, I'll do it.
I like that she pulls like with her enunciation there. I love you. Squeezing the cheeks.
I get what you're
it.
saying.
Yeah.
You. They're not. He's just kneading his ass. Basically. She's making bread out of that ass.
That ass was already bready enough.
Yeah, it's very lumpy.
Yeah.
And so
Dan immediately is like, all right, I'll go do the job right now.
Right. Well, he needs money.
He is the opposite of the mechanic. He's like, I'll go do this job right now.
Exactly.
God damn it.
Doesn't prepare at all.
I completely cursed us and having to deal with Boston possibly winning a fucking NBA championship. And I am sorry for that because I talked up the Celtics in that Mechanic Statham episode, and now they're out here being a good basketball team.
Yeah. That's the worst Boston team to win of all of them, as far as I'm concerned. But Dan goes to the place they're allegedly to a warehouse. They're holding the golden statue, and his plan is gets on the roof. There's a skylight, very Predator.
Very Predator.
He just punches his fist through one of the skylights, puts his hand in, unlocks the door, and jumps down. Starts this fucking griffin, just rifling through everything, just throwing shit everywhere. He's like the most biggest oaf. He's like, this is the greatest guy in Hong Kong to do a cat burglar job.
Maybe
he's a bear burglar. He's just like a big bear that's just like
that would be his Top Gun name, Bear Burglar. Maybe that's why Quan and him had tension because maybe Dan started to realize Joe Dan. Maybe Dan started to realize like shit. He's been talking me up like I'm some great cat burglar. I think he's trying to get me caught.
Could be.
Because, I mean, he is not
Well, we know you can't trust Quan. We'll learn later. But, yeah, and does he have to open a cabinet or something that's in there? I don't remember what it was.
Like you said, he goes full griff. He's like, well, no one's home. I'm going to see if somebody's home. And starts looking around to see if somebody's around.
Pockets a couple of the CDs.
Well, yeah, of course.
This is
the 70s. So it's like, what is this technology? I'm taking it. It makes sense.
Right.
It might be another artifact that he could sell to Quan, make some more money. $30K. He's getting a handy. Had a woman tell him he loves him, and he's going to sell CDs too. That's big time. Right. But he goes through the one closet and he finds the silver exterminator suits.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, what the fuck what does this mean?
Well, that's the whole point. They're spoon feeding us. Like these are the guys from the beginning. They're letting us know.
So was it a couple? Is it a couple working together, or is it two dudes or two women?
No, it's guys working for Linto.
Oh, they live together. Is it like an odd couple situation?
I don't know what the situation. I thought this was a warehouse he was in. I don't know. Is this a home?
I thought it was a home.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
I think it's platonic heterosexual friends.
We were talking about how there's beds and there's closets. And
you're right, because there's a kitchen later on.
There's a kitchen, yeah. Okay. Oh, my God, the kitchen. Yeah. Oh, boy. So anyways, he was followed here.
Right, by some of Linto's goons.
He finds the statue, holds it like a football, and he's just like, yeah, this feels right. He could be fucking up with the needles.
Yeah, he could.
So he's probably the responsible for,
bending them and
anything bad that might happen later in the movie.
Yeah. So goons find him, and he just beats the fuck out of him. He's a big bear. He's a broad bone country boy, dude.
This is where you have to love Joe Don Baker. Because this action scene looks very good.
It looks real.
It's not graceful. It's just like it's a bear mauling a much smaller man.
Right.
That's all it was. He kicks him in the fucking solar plexus. It looked like it hurt the guy.
It's like an Andre the Giant match.
Yeah. They didn't. I don't think they even wasted time like throwing people through paper walls. I think he did throw a guy out a window. That might have been.
He does that a lot. There's a lot of window things. He throws somebody through a skylight.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that was later on. He threw.
Yeah. So he fucks these guys up, and somebody downstairs is like, I guess maybe we saw him earlier. I don't know.
We did see him earlier.
He opens this, he has like a Tupperware like fucking,
he went by the wet market earlier and got, because look, the snake prices these days in Hong Kong in 70 just amazing. Like it's a buyer's market.
Right.
So we got
like now, thanks Biden.
Thank you, Joe Biden. 45 snakes for 3 Woolongs. That's it.
Wow, a Woolong.
A Woolong. Yeah, that's all it took. What currency did they use there?
It's not yen. I know that. It's Japan. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Woolong.
Euro. And so this guy has a big Tupperware tote full of cobras and just throws them on the kitchen floor. That guy just washed that floor and he's throwing cobras on it. And as you so succinctly put it, Dan's like a master of hot lava.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I've done this dance before. So he just leaps up on the counters and, like, say, game of hot lava. You can't touch the floor.
Yep.
He starts tiptoeing right across. Doesn't even bother with the snakes.
The only problem he had was like, oh shit, there's a door in front of me. How am I supposed to get out? I can't get on the floor.
I do it Dan style.
Yeah.
Just jumps through the fucking, it's the French door, so it's like windows.
Yeah.
You know? Jumps through it.
Yeah, he just gets to the edge of the counter. So I don't know how he didn't take the counter down here. This is amazing.
What happened to the guy who dumped the snakes?
He ran away.
He wouldn't be outside with a gun?
He probably saw his friend get fucking mauled by Dan. It was just like, fuck that. I'm throwing these snakes. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm living to see another day.
Smart move. So Dan, just like that, he comes back to Kwan's warehouse with the golden statue.
We know that Dan has no problem getting it up, by the way, because he's got the statue and he's already got an erection, and he's like, I'm gonna fuck that broad in like 5 minutes.
Right. And then this is the thing, she's into it because she's like, wow, he is a great thief, because she's a lowlife, so she respects someone who's a thief. So she's just like, I'm kind of hot for this fucking guy. I love that baby boy haircut.
Yeah.
I loved his, you notice his bell bottoms, they were really weird in that from the mid thigh to like right below the knee, it was a different shade of denim. It was like dark blue. So he had like light blue bell bottoms, but just that middle area was dark blue.
Weird. I did not notice that.
Yeah. You said he's a fashionista.
He is a fashionista. He's living his best life over there in Hong Kong. I wonder if he helped get Su Manchu opened up. Like if he just kind of went around that.
He was her manager at one time.
Was the man? Okay, it makes sense.
And he took her to all the bingo halls of Hong Kong.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, anyways, he gives the golden statue to Kwan.
He's like, I'm not going to need this. Wink, wink.
Yeah, and Felicity is just like right there with them or something.
Yeah, well, she's waiting.
Okay, and Kwan is going to take it to his office, and he's going to he asks him, how are you going to ship this or something?
Yeah, because this is some hot property. You can't just sneak this into America.
And they're going to send it to Felicity's buyer?
Yeah, in L.A.
In L.A., okay.
So he's like, I'm going to disguise it. Tonight, I'm going, because they're like these like urns. He's like, I'm going to make an urn around it. I'm going to fill it with oil because we got this shipment of oil that we're sending to L.A. I'm going to put it in that shipment.
Yep.
No problem. They're never going to look inside. They're just going to open up, see oil, and they're not going to do any of that.
That's right.
And they go, that sounds like a plan, man.
And so then as he's like, well, Felicity's going to take me home, he's like, I'm sorry. So that was interesting.
Right. We learned that there's a reason for this tension. Like Kwan had done something to Dan in the past.
Yeah.
And now he begs for his forgiveness. He's like, I got a hot babe to fuck, whatever.
Yeah, he's got to take Felicity home, and she's just like, not only are you going to take me home, thank you.
You know what that means. This is where he gets smooth as shit, because they take it. It's not her home. It's a hotel she's staying in, and they had these like in the 60s and 70s where there'd be like this kind of like pit like in the middle of a room, like circular. Of course, we have one in the compound. We put my acid in it,
right?
But it really, he's like, what's this? And I would say it's an acid pit. She's like, no, it's a conversation circle.
Conversation pit, yeah.
And then he's as slick as come on a gold tooth. He comes out with her, well, talk to me. And then as the fucking starts.
I don't know how that move worked for him, but baby boy Joe Don Baker's got some fucking suave.
Some suave. And he just takes it to the bone zone. Now, look, the sex scene, after seeing the greatest sex scene recorded in film history last week.
Yeah.
This was a moderate. The music not fuckable at all.
Not fuckable. No.
The sexual movements, the choreography, adequate.
Again, he's got this.
It is a PG movie. That's right. Not a PG-13. When we saw people fucking boning, getting their fucking Lambert was like biting her nipples and shit. It was like PG-13.
Well, as Sven Swede pointed out, is that
Sweaty Swedson.
Lambert has fuck moves. All right, and as we pointed out about Joe Don Baker. He is a bear.
He fucks like a beast.
Punching his way through a fucking China shop. Right. A Hong Kong shop, excuse me. Right. And so he's just going to punch his way through this woman's vagina.
And he does a great job. He fucks her once. And then we cut back to, was it Fenzi?
Huh?
Oh, no, Quan. We see Quan.
Yeah.
I guess this is some symbolism. We're seeing, it's like, it gives you some ghost vibes where we see that fucking urn being made on the pottery wheel. And we're like, oh, I've seen ghosts. They're fucking. That's what it means.
Right. So now their coitus session has ended, and they get a nice knock at the door, and they're just being coy, and they're like covering themselves up with clothes. They just let it in.
No, it was pillows. They were a giant. The conversation pit was just full of pillows.
You're right. It was just pillows.
Right.
And so it's, of course, room service.
Right.
And I don't know who ordered this.
Dan did, of course.
Dan did.
I didn't even fucking. You get an appetite.
I mean, maybe this is why Dan is in Hong Kong, is because he loves seafood.
He does, and they have the greatest. He says it later on. He's like, these shitty fucking Hong Kong foods, I can't stop eating. And he's just pouring shit in his mouth.
Yeah. It was weird when she got the gravy boat and poured it into his mouth. Why is he eating gravy with the seafood, first of all? But...
And it was lumpy as shit, dude. But this is gigantic seafood platter. This is Red Lobster doesn't even make this shit.
It's literally 2 feet tall.
Right.
There's tentacles. Like the setup of it is okay. If you look for this movie for one reason, it's this seafood spread. Tentacles spreading over. They're alive still, crinkling around. Shrimp cocktails, just like little mini shrimp shooter cocktails, if you will. So
oysters everywhere.
Oh my
everywhere.
God.
We know what oysters are for. Fucking
they're the Red Bull of pleasure.
Exactly. And he's ready for round 2. So he's just slurping those oysters.
They're having so much fun. He's like, "Hey, have you ever used these Chinese sticks before?" And she goes, "Dan, chopsticks." He's like, "Yeah, I'm just testing you. It's just fun."
And they go fuck. They're like fucking in a big pile of fish. It's great.
Yeah, he used some of the tentacles to whip her ass. That was on the deleted. I'm sorry, that's not in the final.
That's on the
cut.
Laserdisc.
Yeah, it's on the Laserdisc.
That's the R-rated Laserdisc version. And so we cut to Fenzi's, and Lin Tao's goons show up, and Lin shows up, and he's like, "Where is that big American? I don't know nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. What American?" And like, "Oh, we have ways to make you talk." And they pull out a pair of pliers.
Yeah.
They put her little shriveled up old lady fingers in them pliers. And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking." Fuck this. Squeezing her fingers with that plier.
I would have liked it if he brought his paints with him, though. I thought that was going to be his thing.
Right.
So I would have liked it if he did maybe a line over her finger. Mm-hmm. And then they started
that would have been
I would have liked that, but whatever.
But she eventually breaks back to the hotel. I love this fucking scene because it
is a 1 second cut, but it had to make the notes because it's so good. It's so weird, out of place.
Because if in a normal situation, like I could see myself doing this to a woman, where like Felicity's lying in bed and Dan's up, probably slurping on some more oysters.
He's getting more oysters,
and she looks at him and goes, "Turn around. God, you got such a beautiful body. Joe Don Baker. Like, normally in a movie, it'd be the opposite. He'd be looking at her and saying that, and it would make a little more sense. But And he gets a little red. He's like, oh, really?
Or that, or he's allergic to shellfish. Right. I don't know which one it is.
That's his damn problem. I love shellfish, but I'm fucking allergic. What do I do?
There's the one show I listened to, the guy, AJ Hawk, says that he had to microdose shrimp to get himself over his shellfish allergy.
Well, yeah, he should do that.
Yeah.
So then...
we're just back over to Fenzies.
Back to Fenzies. Someone goes, G23. Bingo. Ling's like, shut this shit down.
Yeah, G23, that doesn't exist in bingo. G is 49 through like 52 or something. Or not 52, 61. So you're right, because it's like, wait a minute, this is rigged. No one should have that.
Big rigged bingo.
More like Ringo. Wait, Ringo. Oh,
I like
man.
Ringo better.
Yeah.
And then the fight just breaks out, because this is a martial arts movie after all. This is the whole reason Jim Kelly got hired, I think.
Yeah, that makes
we know
sense.
Joe Don can't do any of that shit. No. He can't even pick his leg up. And a fight just breaks out.
He can sweet stand somebody.
Yeah, a melee. And it's great. It's a big fight. And then Dan, back to the hotel. Dan's sleeping.
He reaches over to his left, grabs another handful of shrimp, just dips it in the cocktail
looking to grab
sauce.
some pussy, and there's no pussy to be found.
Well, yeah, he reaches the other way, and then he realized, he thought he was going to, shotgun some shrimp into her mouth or something.
Right.
I don't know what Dan's into. I assume that's what he was doing. Like baby birding. Maybe that's his thing.
Yeah, he chews it up and then just spits it in her mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It's erotic.
That is erotic.
I mean, think about that. Like doing that with an oyster, goes in your mouth, you spit it into the other person's.
Oh, God. This spitting it in my mouth is gross enough. Then putting it in another person's mouth. Ugh. That's probably somebody's fetish. There's probably like a whole series on one of those porn streaming sites. It's just that.
People
baby birding.
Letting oysters drop out of their mouth and doing it from like really high, like on a ladder. We told you it was a very sexual episode, everybody.
Yes, we warned you.
We warned you.
Movie PG, episode rated R.
NC
17.
17, that's it.
So not only is she gone, the money's gone. That's what he really cared about, because he knew the deal. He knows she's just some fucking lowlife.
Right. All it was like, you're going to pay me for my work, but then you're going to service my services.
Right.
So
he's like, God damn it, Quan, fuck me over again. So he heads back over to Quan. At that time, Lynn, because Fenzi gave up Quan's place. She's like, I don't know where he's at, but he hangs out with Quan. So they go to Quan's to look for the golden statue.
Right. That was a detail we needed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're at Quan's, and he's not giving it up. They're on the roof.
Well,
and
as we talk about in every episode, you don't go for the nearest exit. You either go to the basement
or the roof.
Or the roof.
Safest place.
He chose the roof.
And they just throw his ass off. And just as Dan arrives, like, Quan! And then he goes into full bear mode.
Right. And he's mauling people. He's throwing more people through windows.
He throws a guy through a skylight.
He drops a guy through a skylight. It's intense. Again, it's a really cool fight because it's just Joe Don Baker throwing people, right. Sweet standing people
Small
in the
Asian
kneecap.
Man, just throwing them around, manhandling them.
It's good shit.
And the cops arrive, so the goons take off.
Yep.
They don't say shit to fucking. You think a fucking foreigner? They would go, this guy's guilty of some shit. They let him go.
Well, here's where Dan is actually showing off some of his agility, because he not only sticks around, he goes to check on Lotus, who's down dead.
He goes to check on Quan.
Or I meant to say Quan.
Yeah.
And he's down dead on the ground, and the police are just like giving him some breathing room here,
right?
Because he's able to go up, talk to Quan, get Quan's final wish,
which is take care of Lotus.
Yeah, which is a character we have not met.
No, we have not. So we're like wondering what's going on. Cut to them incinerating Quan's body. He's getting put right into a crematorium, and then we see Dan and a bunch of Asian people. We're assuming it's Quan's family. It's a funeral.
Yeah, it's a funeral.
And then we're at the cemetery. fuck, man, nuts to butts. They got these bodies packed in this funeral. It's like so fucking compact, like sardine fucking cemetery. And he sees this woman it's already. Why do they need a grave? He gets that cremated.
Right.
What the fuck. And it's Lotus, his daughter. That's who Lotus was, Graf.
Oh, it's a daughter.
And he's like,
okay.
I promise, even though your dad fucked me over multiple times,
Yeah.
I promise I keep my promises, and I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take over the business. We're going to make a lot of money. Don't worry about it.
Right. So, of course, his first, turn, like, I got to figure out what the fuck happened. He's got to go talk to Fenzi, because Fenzi's got an ear to the ground.
And then they don't talk. We learn nothing from this scene, right? I mean,
we learned that, in fact, somebody is after Dan.
Which he already knew. He saw Quan get killed.
Right.
She didn't. She left out the fact that she told them where fucking Quan was. But, and then Dan just drops some fucking knowledge. He's like, I guess I'm just a Hong Kong whore. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
And then, but before he leaves, Fenzi goes, look, get the fuck out of town. Get your shit together. You don't want to take over Quan's business.
Right.
You're fucking with Linto. This guy is fucking vicious. He almost killed Indiana Jones.
Right.
And he's like, just go back to America, never return.
I promise you one thing, Sugar Mama. I'll be returning.
As soon as he walks out, goons just dogpile Dan.
Yeah. And he's no Steve James. We've talked about this. He does not have the graceful combat
More
skills.
Steve Lame.
He's not Steve Lame at all.
Yeah.
He's somewhere in between there. Who would Steve Lame be?
Who do you think? Who do you think?
I guess Ginty is.
Yes, of course, Ginty. So
I would imagine Steve Lame being a black guy.
I know he'd be the opposite of Steve James, so he'd be a white guy.
Oh, okay. You're
Steve
right.
Lame.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Anyways, Dan gets jumped. He gets fucking mounted by 18 guys.
Right.
He doesn't not see where I was going with this was we know Steve James when he gets tackled by 8 guys, just busts right through them.
Yeah, and he even does a bowling sound effect when he does it.
Crazy.
But thankfully, there's a 5'2", 100-pound woman there,
Straight from AEW.
and she just lays to waste, just kicking some fucking ass. Because we need some more kung fu. This is, at the end of the day, it's a martial arts movie, and we know Jodan can't do martial arts, so we need to import some characters.
Yeah.
And she just fucking lays to waste to these guys, to the point where guys are like, "Holy shit! Did you see? That's a woman did that
That's
shit!
a
Oh
woman.
my god!" And he's like, "He's like, thank you, young lady." And who the hell are you? Oh, I'm not gonna tell you that.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to tell me? You're walking in the same direction. You're getting into my car. What's going on? Oh, I'm not going to tell you my name or anything about what's going on here, but you are going to drive me to the airport. Okay. And we are going to get on a plane together. Okay. And you're going to talk to my contact over there. Okay. Dan is very cool with things. He is like water. He's very
exactly.
He's not fluid in combat. He's fluid in conversation.
Right, and in seafood.
And in seafood.
So they get on. They now we cut to the chase. They're getting out of the plane, out of the airport in L.A. And she gives a little exposition to him about the statues. He knows nothing about. He just know that Quan needed a statue. He doesn't know what it's about. Pulls out a picture of it, and she explains that in like ancient like fucking times, somebody noticed that sometimes a soldier would get shot with an arrow, and at a certain point he would just jizz all over the place, but only in 7 spots. And some guy recorded all 7 spots.
It's amazing. Whoever figured that out, like, oh, he got shot here, and his pants are just covered in fucking jizz. That's not blood. That's semen. Like
he's smiling as he's dying.
That's like a month's reserves worth all over his pants.
Right.
That's incredible.
Right, and so somebody recorded that, some thoughtful person.
Yeah.
And he found the 7 spots that do that. Because apparently, how many fucking arrow victims did he go through before he found the 7 spots?
Dude, it had to be so many.
And there's got to be you have to do it certain like in a row. You can't, right? You can't just start like at the dick and then go. You got to is that why it's so hard?
Oh, you're saying you would have to start top to bottom
or
something?
wherever. There's like a.
What I'm understanding from here is that you could do one of them, but the ultimate is doing 7 of them.
I think 1 will make you jizz.
Yes.
But 7 will make you king of the world.
Exactly. So, I mean, I would like to understand what's between 1 and 7, because we know 1 makes you jizz, 7 makes you God King of the world. What's in between?
What if you stopped at 5?
Yeah, exactly. What if you stopped at... What if you were like, I don't want to press my luck anymore. I already had the greatest jizz of my life. I got 4 beautiful women here. I already can tell I'm ready for round 2. You know, these are questions.
But this is such a powerful statue. Her government, which we still don't know what that even means, needs the statue back, and they will offer any amount of money to Dan to do it.
How about $30,000? Yeah, sure. $30,000. Why is Dan constantly lowballing himself?
Really? Because that's a weird number. Like not 50, like not 100.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's an honest man. He's like, I owe Fenzi $30,000. Maybe he owes her 25. He's like, I want 5 for myself.
5 for myself. Well, 5 will last him probably like a week playing mahjong.
Fuck a day. 1 round.
All right, so we land in L.A.
Right, and she's just like, all right, I'll see you later. Because he's like, I gotta go to my contacts. And lo and behold, his contact's waiting there to pick him up. Jeff.
Yep.
Played by Jim Kelly.
Love it, but
there's one thing I love, one thing I don't love.
Immediately it's off because you're just like, wait.
I'm getting Samurai Cop vibes.
He's got a fake mustache.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's literally, I'm going to put a picture up on Twitter. It's literally dangling off his face at one point. It's so bad. And so and later on in the movie, Jim Kelly has a real stash. So obviously this was a scene they did later. Like they had hey, we need one more scene. What the fuck? You shaved your mustache off, Jim? And so they just slapped on a fake mustache.
Right.
But the reminisce, we learned that these guys were in the war together. We don't know what fucking war.
Korean war.
Korean? Okay.
I don't know. They said some war, and then they ended up going together because they grew up together. They're brothers.
They met Kwan, even though Joe Don looks like he's fucking 30 years older than Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
But that's all that seafood. It makes you old.
That's right. Seafood ages
all
you.
that fucking squid ink, dude. It's not good for you.
It really isn't.
And we learned, that they both worked for Kwan, and Jeff took all the shit he learned and went over to America, started up his own thing with his friend Bobby.
That's incredible, because we also know this is the time where there's at least 4,000 Highlanders roaming the world, and as we know, almost all Highlanders are antiquers.
Yeah.
That's all they do. That's the only business they can get into, outside of shoot fighting.
Right. And not only that, he's actually Kwan's contact in America because he has the shipments of these urns.
Right.
But he's like, get this. Somebody broke into the shipments. Don't worry, only one got busted. The other 2 are fine. But they got shipped off to where they're supposed to go.
Right.
One was supposed to go to Winters, who we'll see later, and one was supposed to go to this health spa.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, man, kick ass. We can just go get the fucking jar and we're done.
Yeah, I got a sweet ass hotel here. They put me up. Let's go see if there's any kind of seafood room service. You
ain't gonna get that quality in fucking in LA.
No, you're not. But look, Dan, he just loves seafood.
Well, he's on the seafood diet.
He's on seafood.
Everything he sees is food.
Yeah.
And so they go to his room. I think I'm pretty sure that Jeff had his real mustache at this scene.
Yep.
And we hear some lady say something like,
First,
"Hey, where's my fucking seafood?"
You get the guy, the bellhop who took him to the room, being real snobby, like, I'm not going to hand you the key until you give me a nice tip.
Right.
And of course, we've already talked about Dan's problem with gambling, so he pulls out like a bingo marker, a bingo stamper, a couple of like quarters, and he's like, "Here's my lucky bingo card." That's all he gave him.
That's all he had.
And then you hear the woman in the bathtub.
Like, where's my fucking seafood? And he's like, I know that voice. Walks in. It's fucking Felicity taking a bubble bath.
Oh.
And he's like, you bitch, where's my fucking money at? I had to leave. She's a total con woman. She's just like, don't worry about it. I got it. It's at my boss's place.
Yeah. So there's also this tension that's happening because Jeff saw not Lotus, but the other woman, the secret agent woman who he flew over with, part ways with him, And he gave him some shit like, you're getting old, man. That woman would have been all over you 5 years ago. And he's like, I ain't getting old. Then they go into his hotel, and there's another woman just waiting for him naked in his bathtub. And he goes again, I told you you're getting old because this one got away from you too.
Right.
And Felicity decides to pipe up. And it's like, oh no. He's not, because we thought, we thought she fucked him for money.
Right.
Just to get the deal done, and, then she sealed his deal. We thought it was all over, and that's why she was running away, because she needed to barf up seafood and whatever else he put in her.
Rod Stewart, her stomach pump.
Yeah. And no, because she's like, oh, he ain't old. He's gold.
Oh, yeah. So, well, because like likes like. They're both kind of ne'er-do-well scumbags. So, you know the deal. So, like she said, I'll get your money. I said, Winters, my boss. So they head over to Winters' place. And it's fucking Hearst Mansion. This fucking flamingos everywhere. It's like Playboy. There's a grotto with jizz floating on the water. It's the Playboy Mansion. It looks like fucking Arthur Bishop's crib, all right?
Yeah.
That's how great it is. There's
was.
Fucking Bosch, Hieronymus Bosch, fucking Bosch, man.
Hieronymus.
And they go inside.
They're staring at the ceiling. He's got one of those, like, articulate ceilings,
it's like inlaid wood and
yeah,
shit.
Inlaid, yeah. And so they're like, my God, this man's got real money. Not bingo hall money.
Why did I ask for $30,000? I could have got $100,000. And they notice one of the jars is there and it's busted open.
And so they're looking into this dark, dank room, and they're like, I don't see anybody here, though. It's a mansion. They're in a mansion. They look in one room. I don't see anybody.
That fucker must be gone. And then you hear quack, quack, quack.
They turn around to find Felicity. She's gone.
Right.
And then they go to turn back around, and that's when you hear your
quack, quack, quack. You dope, you tumbling dolts. It's Burgess Meredith as Winters.
This guy is fucking great. He is a total creep billionaire, dude. He's killed it.
For a fucking creep, he's very understanding because these fucking guys hiring are bumbling idiots, and he's just like, one more chance. Always giving them one more chance.
Just like if he were a Batman villain. One more chance.
And he's like, you didn't see me. I was in the room all along.
You looked right at me 3 times. And I went back, and I went on the Laserdisc, and I enhanced, and sure enough, like the man in the leopard print suit in Superman 4, he was just sitting there, eyes fully wide open. It was incredible.
And he's like, you see, I'm a man of exquisite taste, and I hired this young lady to get me a jar of oil that had something in it. It was empty. She bought me a jar of oil for $300,000. And we're like, oh, shit.
I know we're going through a gas crisis. I was like, what is that joke?
Because
it's oil, but he said it was fragrant oil.
Yeah, it's just...
they're playing. He's playing all over the place here. I can't follow it.
So then the light bulb turns on. Dan, $300,000 because she'd been skimming shit off his money because she's like, I only have $150,000.
Yeah. So does that mean she slept with Dan for $250,000, kind of in a way? If she's gonna pay him $30,000 to get the statue, and she's gonna profit $270,000, does that mean? Never mind.
No, it's math. It confuses me.
Okay.
So he's like, you bumbling boobs, get me that statue here. Put it right here on that piano. I do not exaggerate. And he gives a little wink. So the crew's like, and they leave, and then fucking Dan immediately, bitch, what the fuck? $300,000? Well, I have debts, but when we cut back to Winter,
yeah, we got to go.
I didn't understand this scene.
It was a weird scene
because he goes in like his dining room,
yeah,
and we see fucking Linto there. Why is he working? Why is Linto here? Why does he need Linto?
Right, Linto had the statue and had to sell it to Felicity for Felicity to bring it back to him?
Yes.
Well,
he does later on. Winters has this thing. He has to use middlemen. So he had to use a middleman. He explains it later on. So he couldn't go straight to Lintow, even though Lintow's right here. And Lintow's like, I only wanted was $250,000. You gave her $300,000. What the fuck, Winters?
Was this the movie? We've watched too much shit this week. Was this the movie where they were like, I didn't say I want a middle woman. Fucking women are good for nothing.
Yes. Well, we can obviously see that Winters is not into the ladies.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was weird. Like he said, like Lintow. Why is he working with Lintow? I don't know. You think he'd be his enemy because he held him up for this money? I don't know. We just needed Lintow to get his end something.
So now that we got Lintow in town, it's like he's gonna Winters has put him on Dan's case because he's like, those three know something. Right. Keep an eye on Felicity for sure. So we're gonna be following them. But, of course, our boys, they're going to be fucking pissed at Felicity.
Right.
Because they found out that they're getting shorted and all
right.
that.
And she's like, and then she's like, I had debts. Oh, no, wait. She's like making up all these excuses. And fucking, we know Dan knows the deal. He knows how full of shit she is.
Right.
So he's just like, bitch, walk. Get out of my car right the fuck now.
So, go.
They stop at the hotel to drop her off. And then Jeff's like, fuck this shit. Why? I got my own setup. Let's just go. I got other jobs we could be doing. That sounds like a good idea because she's pissed off about this whole Winters thing.
They don't even drop her off at the hotel. They just drop her off in the streets.
Well, it's in front of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Because it says there was a sign that said valet service.
Oh, okay. So she must have been trying to follow them because she immediately goes for a cab.
Right, because they're going to cut her out. Like, fuck you. You already got like fucking $300,000.
Oh, this makes sense. Okay, because she knows that they probably know something.
Right.
Because Jeff and Dan do, after she walks, they're like sticking out in the car, and they're like, I know where Kwan's third pop.
Well, they're like, let's check with Bobby at the fucking antique shop.
Bobby at the antique shop. Okay.
So the boys bail on Felicity, and then all of a sudden, immediately goons try to kidnap Felicity. I don't know what's going on. Like, this is very confusing. Like, she was just at the place where Lintow was at,
right?
And now they're going to kidnap her.
And they were supposed to be following her.
Because one thing was, Winters did tell Lintow he's got something for that girl, so we can use her against him.
I love that you're getting Meredith's fucking finger wagged perfectly. He had great finger work.
I wish I knew Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith.
I'm thinking of the character Winters.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Winters.
Okay. And yes, great finger work.
Yeah,
studied under. He actually taught Billy Drago everything he knows.
The only thing better than his finger work was our cab driver who was trying to let Felicity in. When the goons jump out, his hat popped off his head, and he had an O face, and I was like, oh, that's incredible. I don't know how he did that with his hat.
But thank God that mysterious Asian woman's there to save the day again. She's always there when someone's going to get kidnapped.
Right.
And she kicks ass, and she immediately says, my name's Sue Lin. Like, won't tell Dan her fucking name, but she's like, I'm Sue Lin. I'm here to protect you. Don't worry about it. And they're like, great, let's go follow those motherfuckers.
Yeah. And we follow over to them. They've arrived at Bobby's place, and they find him dead. Face painted.
So we know that's Lintow's fucking thing. It's the face paint. Looks like fucking 1988 Sting. I mean, I don't know. It was weird. I thought they were going to do Crow Sting.
Yeah, exactly. I did like the little rat tail, though.
It was nice.
Yeah. Bleached.
And like fucking Jeff's pissed for like 5 seconds, and he immediately gets over it. He just fucking gets on the phone. He's like, I'll find out where that fucking urn went to or whatever. So he calls up, finds out it went to this health spa. And so like, all right, let's go to this health spa, pick this shit up.
So they get to the health spa, and I don't remember how they met up, but now Sue Lin,
they're just there.
And Felicity, they're there. And
they've been following them, so yeah.
Okay. So they all get in the car. They're like, carpool's cheaper. We can take the carpool lane. It is LA after all.
Yeah, and Dan's no longer pissed at Felicity.
No, that's fine.
He gets over it.
Right.
That's his thing.
Right. He is very quick to recover. He's just like, yeah, no big deal.
So they go up to a room, and they go, hey, there's the jar right there. There's a guy massaging an old lady's face.
Yeah, they're like, oh, my God. What, is there anything in that? No, the real jar's in the back, like my backup jar. I just got this shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, because Jeff like taps the jar. He's like, this shit's empty. There's no fucking statue. Well, the replacement's right. We keep it underneath the fucking staircase for some reason. So they go down there. They find the jar. And this is it. We got the fucking golden statue of ecstasy. And just as they say that,
Yep. Goons show up.
Goons show up, and goons show up. Ass kicking happens, especially when Jim Kelly's involved.
So this health spa is also a YMCA.
It's everything.
They
got championship table tennis rooms.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. The one thing that I didn't like was I thought we were only going to see this in Highlander 3. Why was there a scaffold match in here too? Why was there people swinging from ropes, like kicking at each other? I hated that.
When you got Jim Kelly, you got to showcase his moves. And you really got to show up Jim Kelly. You know what you need, Griff? You need some saggy old man ass.
Why was this in there?
They go into a room. It's a bizarre room. There's like a fucking tub where an old man's sitting in it. There's a bunch of naked elderly men. Did you notice the part where Jim Kelly tripped over the guy's balls because they were so saggy?
God, it was awful.
Almost got. Yeah, it was just a scene of naked old white guys. It was gross. And I'm going to put a picture of that up on our Twitter so you can see how gross it was.
Maybe that's why Jim Kelly's like, guys, maybe I'm not in this movie very much. Because they're like, hey, we're going to have this scene where you're like fighting around these naked old dudes. Excuse me?
Yeah. And then we see Sue Lin and you can see Arthur Bishop and Steve playing handball, and Sue Lin just fighting some guys in the middle of it. Hey, get out of here. We're playing some handball here.
And then it's all looking good for our heroes. They're beating ass all over this YMCA. They win the scaffold match. They win the ball match in the hot tub. They fucking get the Viagra off the pole. They Lynn's, wrecking people.
Well, if that's Viagra, then why the fuck do we need the golden statue?
Anyways, everything's looking good, and then suddenly Lynn walks out. Felicity is held hostage.
That's all she's there for, is to be held hostage.
It's a good thing they try to counter out Felicity being such a helpless woman with, what's her name? Lin Sue. Or not Lin Sue. Sue Lin.
You Americanized her.
I Americanized her.
So they go back to Winter's place.
Oh, this is the part. There's only one thing.
Well, he says, because he explains what we had the issue with. Why didn't he just go straight to Linto? And he's like, middlemen, my dear. The whole world hinges upon middlemen. And there's only one thing worse than a middleman, and that is a middle woman. Because he's a catty gay guy. He hates women, man. And so he just goes off on this fucking misogynistic rant about broads. It's like straight out of Andrew Dice Clay.
It was good. It was a good Dice Clay bet.
Dickory, dock.
This woman is going to drown by the docks. I mean, I know I'm driving dock with dock, but still, it was good.
And but he's forgiving. He is forgiving.
Yeah. But hey, guys, we're getting it. For the first time in a long time in this movie, the golden statue reveal.
Right, we see it. And he's like, I'm going to let you guys watch what this thing can do. And he's like, God damn, haven't you heard? Tiger balls, that'll make your dick hard. Oh, my dear boy. I don't care. All of a sudden, I'm Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. He's like, I don't care about things like sex. If you do the 7 acupunctures, you will have eternal youth, and I'll be an elderly little man forever.
This is going back to our Highlander logic, which makes me wonder if Quan was a Highlander, and when he fell, if his head got decapitated.
No, he was not, because we'll learn later why he wasn't.
Oh, okay. But I wish Winters would have told us what's between 1 and 7. Because he does point out, I don't want just one needle. I've come all my life. I'm coming dust these days.
This is the 70s.
Okay.
Where we believed in 90-minute movies, and we believed in using your imagination. If this was made in the 90s, we'd get every fucking point, and they would go into detail about what they do. Use your imagination.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, and this is my dear boy Claude. I've known him for 30 years. This guy looks like he's fucking 30-some years old. You've had him as a child? What the fuck? This huge black guy. He is going to try it out for me, my dear boy.
Oh, yeah.
So this hulking black dude gets up on the table. They just strip him. They don't even do the little...
There's no ceremony here. Gown. They just get him naked.
And we just hear the tension. There's a guy, and he's like, and then corrects himself.
Yeah.
And then we just see the sweat pouring off of Claude. We're like, holy shit, this guy's going to explode with jizz.
So they've got LA's best
LA's best acupuncturist.
Yeah. Okay, and we know LA. It's got plenty of Asian folk and everything because you can't do acupuncture unless you're Asian.
Right.
And you have to wear glasses. But what did you notice about this guy?
He just had one glass. He didn't have the magnifiers.
He didn't have the magnifiers.
Couldn't see the pores.
He couldn't see the pores. He lost the pores for the trees. Forest for the pores. He lost the pores for the forest.
Can't see the pores for the tree.
There we go.
So what do you call a group of pores? A porist?
A porist.
Okay, can't see the pores for the pores.
Yeah.
And so this guy's sweating. Like, holy shit, this is going to explode with jizz. This is going to fucking everywhere. It's working.
Right.
And then...
Well, as we've talked about, after you get the first needle in, you jizz. And so there is just cum everywhere at this point.
There was a guy with a mop.
I was just saying, for a PG movie, there was a lot of jizz.
As long as you don't see it coming out of the dick, you can get a PG rating. Yeah. And we're like, holy shit, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And then he gets up off the table, and then... Yeah, it didn't work. He dies. Poor Claude.
Why did I bother getting the greatest acupuncture in L.A.?
What now? Because like I said, Winters is very forgiving. He's going to give these numbnuts another chance. My dear boy... This statue isn't authentic. How do we know that? Maybe it is the real one, but that guy didn't have the magnifying glasses, and that's why it didn't work.
Through his frustration and the failure, his ignorance is showing. He should know better. He should really think about that. It could have been the acupuncture. There's several different things that could have gone wrong here, but he just blames it. He doesn't know what to do in the moment, so he just blames it on...
Which once again leads us to the theory that there must be something magical about the one golden needles of ecstasy, because you could literally take a picture of it, or you could literally make a cast of it and make an exact duplicate.
Right.
So there has to be something magical about the golden needles of this statue.
That's what we said. Maybe Nakano made it.
Yeah. So he gives them one more chance. You, my dear boys, will go to Hong Kong and you will find me that statue.
This is the worst game of cat and mouse because they're like, you guys go. Lynn, follow them. It's like, what the fuck? Just like, keep
because Lynn needs to get his comeuppance. It's the only reason why.
Right.
So we're right on the streets of Hong Kong. I love it. We fucking 90s movie. We'd see them getting on the plane, going through customs, taking a shit. No, we're in Hong Kong.
We're in Hong Kong, and Dan immediately is going to every street vendor he can. He's grabbing fistfuls of various skewered seafood.
He's in the wet mart, and he's just grabbing live creatures.
He bites the head off one of the snakes and offers it to
Felicity. He even says, this fucking, I'm back here with all this shit food that I can't stop eating.
Yeah.
And he starts pouring the shit in his mouth. And as he turns around to get another mouthful of some creature, goons once again kidnap fucking Felicity.
Yeah.
Why? They're going to do the job. They're there to do the job. Why do they constantly need to keep kidnapping Felicity?
Right. But I believe, who was it? Somebody had like a full-on GPS location.
Well, what happens is it just so happens they're in the front of Fenzi's.
Do they capture Felicity, or do they capture Lotus?
No, they capture Felicity.
Okay,
because he's chowing down right in front of Fenzi's, so he goes into Fenzi's, and then he's like, "I need to know where Lotus is."
Oh, that's what. Okay,
and she's just like, "I never heard of her." Come on.
That's right.
We're fellow Hong Kong whores here.
Yup. And then she's like, "All right, here's exactly where Lotus
I can't
is."
say no to you. You're so your body's so beautiful.
Yep.
And then she gives him the address to Lotus's.
Okay.
So he heads out to Lotus's. He goes. It's apparently she lives on a canal somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. She lived over by the water. Right. Scary territory.
Right. And he goes to Lotus's, and he's like, "Look, I need that statue." And she's like, I have the statue. My father, he wanted to... This is why we learned that he's not immortal, because he wanted the statue.
Right. And he was like, no, don't you tell me about your father. Let me tell you about your father. He was the greatest man I've ever known. He screwed me over a lot. Welched on a few bets.
Every time.
He was nearsighted and farsighted. Hard of hearing. And
he was short-sighted.
he had some weird fetishes that I won't get into right now because you are his daughter after all.
And she's just like, that's enough for me to give you the statue.
Yeah.
But all my father did that. He loved you like a son, Dan. He switched the statues because he wanted eternal youth, and all I wanted was my father's love.
My papa.
And he's like, yeah, whatever. Face palms her, grabs it out the fucking door. They put it in a fucking Crown Royal bag for some fucking reason.
I like that. That's a good touch.
It's classy.
That's classy. Velvet.
And he's got his little boy with the fairy waiting for him.
Yep.
And then Goons just lunge on him. He gets away, gets on the full ferry boat, but they're following him. Very, very slow water chase we get here.
Very slow. And we finally get to the other side wherever Dan's trying to go to.
Well, he jumps on another boat.
He has to jump on another boat.
He's fighting guys boat to boat.
Yep, he's running across the boats and everything. We're seeing this again. Dan has the statue again. And remember, there's needles in it. And it's just in a Crown Royal bag. There's nothing making sure those needles stay in place. So what this movie has taught us is that the technology, the secret to this acupuncture is lost forever. Because there's no way those needles are in the right spot anymore. There's no way.
I don't know. They'd be in the same spot. They'd just be all bent up and shit.
They'd be all bent up. Okay, so I suppose what you're saying is there's
acupuncture needles are very pliable. So
so they'll flex.
Yeah, they flex.
Oh,
they're
okay, so maybe they're okay.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Dan's like fucking oaf, so he doesn't give a shit. His whole thing is, I just want to give him the fucking statue and get my $30K.
Right. $30K. Anyway,
so why don't they just do that? Why doesn't I guess Winters does not like to be fucked with, so he's like, I have to teach these people a lesson because it's like, just give him $30K. Here's the statue. He doesn't want it. Dan doesn't want the fucking statue.
Yeah.
There's no reason for this.
So Dan makes it back to the streets. He's running away. It just so happens that Lin Tao is there. He pulls up in a car. Of course, Felicity's in the car.
Right.
She tries to get out of the car to yell for Dan, like, hey, they're here. And I believe she gets stabbed in the ass. I don't remember what happened here.
Yeah, she gets stabbed in the shoulder.
Oh, in the shoulder.
Left shoulder.
And
it went all the way through.
We're all the way through.
It should be all right. But she still gets stabbed. And then Dan just fucking peels out, takes off. He's being chased by first the goons, and then, when you see monkey do, you see somebody doing something, you have to do it. So everyone just starts joining in. They think it's a game of follow the honky or some shit.
Right.
A honky do, I guess. And they start chasing Dan. Dan's got a literal mob of people chasing him through the fucking alleyways of Hong Kong. People are like, what the fuck's going on? He killed a child!
And so, of course, everyone's like, well, we got some pitchforks nearby.
Right.
Torches.
Dan gets cornered. There's an alley blocked off by a fence. He climbs the fence. There's literally 100 people.
He drops off the statue with somebody.
No, he passes by another antique shop, probably owned by a Highlander.
Yeah.
Drops this. He hides it among these other statues. And then takes off.
Yeah.
But they don't care because they think he fucking fiddled some kids or some shit.
Right.
So they're chasing him. He's cornered.
They're like, get the groomer.
Right. And like, holy shit, this is it for Dan. But the cops arrive, and they're like, no. Nobody killed a kid. Leave the hunky alone. Just let him have his shrimp. And yeah, it was a very long, this is like 10-minute scene. And it was just, I find it hard to believe Joe Don Baker's going to outrun a mob of 100 people.
Absolutely.
But he does it.
And then he just climbs down, walks away from the crowd.
Right.
Happens on Lynn's car. Finds like a big piece of fucking wood.
Like a 2x4. He goes, oh, tough guy! And he breaks the fucking windshield out. He's pissed.
Yeah. Lynn gets out. He chases him down. Fucking just kicks him in the butt a couple times.
This is the weird thing. They're outside, but there's just a window. Just a window. There's no house around it. There happens to be a window.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking Dan can throw him through the window. It's in front of a stairway. So Lynn rolls down the stairs, lands, he's dead. So that's the whole reason Lynn had to be there so Dan could kill him.
Fucking weirdest goddamn movie.
Nobody cares that someone was just murdered in broad daylight.
We're used to seeing that on the streets of Hong Kong.
They chase. I guess you can kill anyone, but not a child, because Dan kills a man and nobody cares.
They believe the police here, and the police said he didn't murder a child. So they're like, yeah, whatever. They see him murder Lynn. They're just like, hey, that's not a child. That's a man.
While all that chasing was going on, some guy who we don't know if he's Lynn's goon or a cop, notices the statue and then pockets it. So when Dan goes back, he's like, God damn it, where's that fucking statue? And then Sue Lynn pops up. Oh, we have it.
Yeah.
You will get your money, your $30K. While that's going on, we see Felicity getting loaded up in an ambulance.
Yep.
And she hears $30K. She's like, what? So Dan gets in the ambulance with her, and she's like, 30 fucking K? That's worth $1 million. What the fuck, you idiot? So you know these guys are going to be loved for the rest of their lives because she's called him an idiot.
Yeah.
And even the fucking EMT's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, EMT was grossed out. But he had some oysters in his pocket, and he was starting a baby burner. That's love. That is love right there.
And then they just drive off to have a fucking horrible, dysfunctional relationship for the rest of their lives.
But a lot of good seafood.
A lot of good seafood.
It's good protein right there.
So there you have it. You should have listened to that episode, people, because it was good. All right. As far as first off, we got to remind everybody we're gonna be, I don't know when it's gonna come out, but we're gonna be doing a guest spot on the Cult Film Companion podcast. So look for that. It might be out even right now. I don't know when the guy's turnover is, but if I'll let you know on our Twitter when that comes out. So we're gonna be talking about some Darkman.
Darkman used to play that video game.
Sam Raimi, Detroit's own Sam Raimi.
Yeah, and he put his brother in it and stuff or something.
Yeah, Ted Raimi's in it. He's in all this shit.
Okay,
and so look for that. But next week, I don't know, all right. Pride Month is June, Griff.
See?
As in
yes.
Oh,
Spanish for yes.
And so we thought, hey, we should do something nice for our gay. We got to have some gay listeners, don't we, Griff?
Yeah, I'm sure we got one.
And if we do, I want to hear from you because we've been wanting to do cruising for a while. And I want to have a gay listener just because I want to get the gay perspective on this movie.
That would be good.
Because if you don't know what cruising is, it came out in the early 80s. The story is there's a serial killer killing gay men in the leather daddy scene of New York. Al Pacino is a straight cop who goes undercover into the leather daddy scene. Very controversial. It would be even more controversial for its time now, but even back then, it was a very controversial movie. So I would love to have, if there's a gay guest who would like to come on, I want to get the gay, what did they get right, if anything? What did they get wrong? Probably a lot. So if you're interested, DM me on Twitter at GNG Theater. And so, never mind that. Getting back to gay pride. We don't know. We've never seen the movie, but for years, Griff and I have heard that Top Gun is a super subversively gay recruitment movie.
Right.
We were like, hey, let's do that. We'll judge on it. We'll be very impartial. We will judge to see if this is true or not. But I was like, then I saw hour 50 and like, oh, fuck. I don't want to do an hour 50. I'll let the people decide. So I put a poll up for 2 days recently. Just ended right before we started recording. I'm going to let you guys decide. Should we do it? I said, should we do it? No, sir. Yes, queen. We got 28 votes. Come on, man. 28 votes. We have over 900 followers, Griff.
28. That's a pretty bad return.
Yeah, I was not happy with that. So I'm like, even though the results were a resounding yes, a yes queen, because it was 21-7. Which what the fuck? We got 7 homophobes. Don't listen to our show.
Yeah, they're gonna have a hard time when we do cruising.
You better believe it. I say no, but I'm gonna put the power in Griff's hands for this one.
Yeah.
Should we or should we not do Top Gun next week?
I'm gonna go with yeah. All right,
Yas Queen.
Yas Queen. My brother's hounding me on this one. I didn't.
But that makes me not want to do it even less. I want to punish your brother by saying no, we don't do it.
I didn't even know my brother was a fan of the Top Gun franchise, but he's like,
is it a franchise? He just did a second one recently.
Yeah, that makes it a franchise, doesn't it?
More than one is franchise.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know. But he is like, Griff, I just tweeted Murray to do Top Gun.
Yeah, and I ignored it, but yeah.
And then he tweeted me again today, you motherfuckers need... I have never seen my brother this animated. So, I gotta say, the people clearly want it. They're trying to play it cool, because they know...
Well, I understand, because in the world we live in, people get scared, and they're like, well, if we've been doing this for 4 years. I think we've earned your trust. We're not going to do some homophobic hatchet job on this movie. We're going to call it right down the middle. As far as we know, we might say it's a straight movie, and you guys are like weird for thinking it's gay.
Not to mention, we're like in a book deal. I forget who's helping us out with it for the Spartan Squad, which is like
Jack's going to be our ghostwriter.
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, and
he, by the way, he wants it too. He went to bat for us. Went to bat. Thank you. I just blanked on that metaphor. He went to bat for us, which people rarely do. 'Cause people don't want to be associated with us for some reason.
That's terrible.
But yeah, so all right, I will relent. I'm doing this under duress.
Yeah,
especially now that I know your brother wants us to do it.
I mean, we did this beautiful punk rock movie this week. Took us no time at all. We got it in. We got you out. Joe Don Baker all over the place. Seafood. It's time for us to suffer our own seafood justice and do some. I mean, we haven't done a longer movie in a while. So I think each month we have to do one longer movie, and I think that's this movie.
All right, well, we're heading into the danger zone next week. We're doing Top Gun. I'm so excited. Keep it warm.